here's the evolution of ignoring others on public transit. It's pretty simple. You ready? Here's what it was like in the past, and here's what it is now. We're still ignoring everybody. We're still ignoring each other on public transit. So on that vein, I'd love to share some really interesting research. We go way much more in depth in the book, but this research was done by Nick Epley and Juliana Schroeder out of the University of Chicago. And they wanted to figure out why people weren't interacting and connecting with each other on public transit, specifically the trains in Chicago. And so they decided to study it. And so they started with the trains in Chicago, and they created a group, and they gave them, they divided the group into 3 areas. The first group was called the solitude group, and they were tasked with not connecting with anybody and keeping to themselves. The second group was the control group, and they were supposed to do what they normally would do on the transit, which of course was not connect with anybody. Then the third group was the connection group. So they were asked to forge a connection with a stranger. And so those were the 3 groups. And they studied them, and here's what they found. Connecting with others, even strangers, makes us feel good, whether we're the initiator or the receiver, introverted or extroverted. Of all 3 of those, the folks that were in the connection condition always felt more satisfied, even if they were the initiator or the receiver, and there was no difference between if they self-proclaimed being introverted or extroverted. They took that same study and they ran it across cabs and airports and waiting rooms. All had the same result, where folks in the connection group had the greatest satisfaction. So that's really interesting, but the most interesting thing about this research is before they started the research with all of the people that they were doing with, they asked them, of those 3 groups, which of these do you believe you will be most satisfied in? And most people said the solitude condition. You and I, our brain is misleading us to thinking that connecting with others isn't going to go well, and we're not going to be better off for it. So we've got to reverse that trend. We've got to know that I want more connection, and everyone else in the world wants more connection. So here's the strategy I want to share with you, and that is to reframe your connection expectations. So most people wrongly predict that engaging with others won't be pleasant. Our brain misleads us, but don't let the research we just covered mislead you. Kindle the momentum by weaving in more human connection throughout your routine, all right? We're all better for it. And you've experienced this. When you hang up after talking to that close friend, you feel better, don't you? Your well-being is boosted.